You know when you remember an old embarrassing memory and it gives you the ick? Two things could be done. One, move past and remember how you've improved and become the best version of yourself. Or... And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the peak best girl. Okay, I mean, the last clip wasn't the best representation of Bocchi, but trust, after this video, you'll also understand why Bocchi is quite literally the embodiment of best girl. For any of you who haven't seen Bocchi the Rock, or have only heard of it then, what the f are you doing? Go watch it now. Like, if you've seen K-On! And other music-based animes, then this quite literally lives up with those animes. So, basically, it's like K-On! With anxiety. Today we'll be delving into the character of Hitori Goto, or also known as Bocchi. She isn't like your average best girl, and I emphasize on average. When we see some of the portrayal of past female anime characters, there wasn't much depth to them, or they were overtly sexualized to feed into the hungry degenerates that are in the world. Or, you know, you're a female character in Naruto and are absolutely shut on by the community because the creator doesn't know how to write female characters. But now there are much better and more depth to these characters and aren't just side characters to the main character, but rather they have some form of personality behind them, like Frenin recently. But also our focus today though will be on Bocchi. You know what, never mind, we can end the video right here. Okay, yes, Bocchi can be quite interesting at times, but you know, we'll get to that side of her character later on in the video. Starting off, Bocchi at a very young age never really had a friend. Even during elementary school, when she would see all the other kids playing, she would want to join in too, but would miss her chances of joining and would end up being alone. This never really stops for Bocchi because even during picnics with the entire class, she would end up eating with her teacher and swapping lunches. So she never really knew what it was like hanging around kids her own age, which for some of us watching can be quite relatable, especially when we were in school, where you would end up being alone and having a hard time making friends, since like Bocchi, your social skills weren't the best. It really hits when she says that the only message she gets on her phone is from her parents and no one else. And like that, over time of being alone for so long, she somewhat accepts that she's an introvert and that she feels that this is exactly what she's supposed to be. Even though she does want friends and be around other kids, she kind of just takes it as her fate that she's supposed to be alone. I mean, it's quite literally in her name. Hitori in Japanese means alone, but clearly it's shown that she actually does want friends and be around people when after watching a performance on TV of a band, which I mean 2 out of these 4 guys look like they're itching for the next hit, but you know, nevertheless, they speak about how they were also like Bocchi, who would be in the back of the class by themselves, but states that even if you're an introvert, a band is a place where they can shine regardless of who you are. And Bocchi saw this one clip of the band and ran with it. This girl within 3 years would start playing the guitar, would end up mastering the living shit out of it. Jimi Hendrix would be proud. Bocchi believes that even someone like her who feels like an outcast, an invisible person to others, feels like she could also shine if she's in a band. It's more like she isn't voluntarily wanting to be introverted, but rather her experiences as a child have made her feel this way and that she can only be like this. Clearly she has shown that she will do whatever it takes to be noticed by others. Even after 3 years of learning the guitar, her as a social person is quite literally the same. Nothing has changed. That part hasn't changed. She went through all of middle school interacting with absolutely no one except her family, which in turn has caused her social levels to go even further down into the fucking negatives. So even the slightest word someone says to her would actually freak her the fuck out. Granted, the way Bocchi reacts with certain situations is over the top, and that's expected because it's an anime and it makes us gravitate towards Bocchi more as a character, but Bocchi might be experiencing some pretty anxious situations where to most people might seem like moments where it's not really that bad, and in hindsight it's probably true that it's not that bad. But since we're seeing this from Bocchi's perspective, her experiences with just meeting Nijika might be on like a level 5 on the anxiety levels from an outsider's perspective, but in Bocchi's mind might be like a level infinity because she went on for so long without talking to people that it is very foreign to her now. People who grew up like Bocchi, where they didn't have any friends and essentially entertain themselves, think on a certain aspect like Bocchi. So to a lot of fans of Bocchi, aside from being fans of the music, they are fans because they can relate to Bocchi one way or another, since they see qualities that they can relate to. But the progression with Bocchi over the first season on her trying to be sociable and be the person that she always wanted to be really shows throughout the season with her interaction with many different people she meets. Firstly being her bandmates that she meets when she joins Kesuko band. Her initial reactions are what they're supposed to be, and that is someone who hasn't interacted with kids her age ever, and has quite literally the highest of anxiety when she is approached by someone she doesn't know, but she grows to be comfortable and more social with her new friends. You see her grow each episode with certain things like being on stage and performing in front of others. Like, that can be quite scary if you're someone with that much anxiety, since if you can't handle a conversation with just one person. But you see her going from performing inside a box, a literal box, to an actual performance in front of an audience. Yes, but her anxiety being over the top with every new situation can be a little tiring, but for Bocchi, it's like anything new that she does that is regarding doing anything with being social, then her reaction will always be the same with new situations she faces. Which is what the anime does, is that she learns to change that about herself in every situation she faces, since not every situation is the same as the previous one. She won't change as a person as a whole just from one situation, but rather she has to go through everything one by one that she would have as a kid, but now in teenage form. She's learning to be her true self rather than being someone who she doesn't want to be anymore, and that can be seen quite relatable, since no one wants to be alone like Bocchi, and they want to have friends, but their own experiences early on in their life tampered with how they are now as a person, and it'll take time to have them overcome their fears. By the end of the season, she goes through a whole plethora of situations where she had to overcome things like performing in front of an audience, meeting new people, and even interacting with strangers during her new job. Her own little sister, who is 5 years old, has more social skills than she does when she meets Kita and Ichichi. It really depends on what kind of a childhood you have or experience you have in your life that can really tamper the way you see the world and your ability to be around other people. To me, she is best girl just because of how much Bocchi is relatable and how she is the anime form of people's lives where they were younger, who had a severe hard time trying to make friends and be themselves. She also had a knack of being overtly awkward and come off as weird, but I mean, it's just her way of being normal, and that she thinks that this is what she's supposed to be doing as normal. She's a weird but funny character that a lot of people can resonate with and understand why Bocchi is the way she is, and really appreciate the anime, since it's the type of anime whether you really like it or just see it as any other anime. But Bocchi the Rock as a whole is such a great anime, and because it's a very comforting show to watch, since one, you can relate with it, and two, it's just an easy watch from start to end. Though there should be a movie coming out later this year, so who knows if we get another season anytime soon, since there's a movie coming, which for some fucking reason every anime does these days. But if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe.